Welcome to the question of the day. Today's question is from Larry in the Charlotte area. And Larry asks, I'm a sales manager and I often hear you say to ride along with the team. Do I need to ride along if I'm using an AI ride along software? And he said a specific software in there, but I'm going to take that out of it. So, because there's a number of AI softwares and they all function very much in the same way. They all have their pros and cons, much like different products do. But I'm going to address this regardless of the branding of the AI software. So, do I need to ride along if I'm using an AI ride along software? Short answer is yes. You still need to physically ride along. AI is a great tool. I use it all the time. But anybody that is making great advancements in AI and uses AI quite a bit, really, they all say the same thing. You hear it over and over and over again. You hear that AI enhances, but it doesn't replace, especially the people component. It enhances, but it doesn't replace. It still can't do what a human does. And so you have to, when you're working with AI, regardless of what you're using it for, you have to think, what does AI do? And then what are the people things that it can't do? So it enhances, but it does not replace. Even the AI companies that you're referring to, a lot of them have taglines that say something like the end of ride-alongs, right? So they say like you don't have to do ride-alongs again. But then when you meet with them and you actually talk to them, they say you still should do some physical ride-alongs. I even spoke at one of these companies' events in the last year, and even in their main stage presentation, they talked about the physical ride-alongs that they did and how they still recommend doing physical ride-alongs because it doesn't completely replace, even though end of ride-alongs is a really cool tagline, it doesn't completely replace it. It does enhance it though, which by the way, those companies, I still think these are great tools. Like these AI tools, it's creating a whole new standard in our industry. Like if I was running my own company today, absolutely, I would have one of these AI tools that I'm using to enhance my ride-alongs. So when I say it enhances, but it doesn't replace, let me give you an example here. So just recently, I was watching a a news article, and they were talking about AI glasses and how that's helping enhance the experience for the blind. And I thought this was amazing, right? So these blind people, they would wear the Meta AI glasses and it completely transforms their life. It makes them independent in areas that they were not previously independent, right? So there was examples where they would go and they'd be talking to somebody and they would say, Meta, describe who I'm talking to. And it would describe like you're talking to a blonde female wearing a white top with black pants, right? And so it would describe situations in front of them. They would walk into a Starbucks and they would say, hey, Meta, read the menu to me. So now, like they could read the menu. They don't have to have somebody do it for them. They can go up, order their own drink without having to depend on somebody else, right? Hey, Meta, read my mail for me. Hey, Meta, who is this letter from? So it was like all these different examples that it enhanced their life. But then they also hit on some examples where it would miss. So something like they were walking down a city street and they asked, hey, Meta, are there stairs in front of me? Because they had felt that there were stairs. And Meta said, no, there's not stairs, but there was clearly stairs there, right? So if they would have completely trusted the AI, they would have had a nasty fall. Same thing in our industry. If we completely rely on the AI, we're going to have a nasty fall. It enhances, but it does not replace. So could AI lessen the amount of physical ride-alongs that you do? Yes, it could absolutely do that. And that's a big problem. Usually when I talk to sales leaders and we talk about ride-alongs, the question comes up of how often should I do a ride-along? Well, the standard, the companies that are doing it the best and having the best results, weekly. They are weekly riding along with each individual. That's usually where I get some pushback and they say like, well, I got 5 people on my team. I got 8 people on my team. I got 10 people on my team. I can't physically do that. I don't have enough time in the week to do that. And I get that. I totally get that. That's where AI enhances your ride along experience because now I don't have to physically ride along each week. What I would do is I would figure out how much could I do? Okay, no excuses here. How much could I actually get in the field and ride along and then use AI to backfill that and supplement it? So you're still getting out there as often as you can, but you're doing a ride along, if you will, an AI ride along at least weekly. And I would say if you're using AI, you can do it way more than weekly. So it enhances, but it doesn't replace. Because here's the thing. This is where I see companies miss with AI. They think it's like a turnkey solution that I'm going to get AI and it's going to fix all my sales problems. Thing is, you still need to know how to use the tool effectively. And that's where I see it, a lot of companies miss. They don't know how to use the tool effectively. The company came in, they set up the AI tool for them, and then they left. And now I'm the sales leader that's supposed to manage it, and I still don't know how to use it very well. Or I know how to use it for very basic features. So you need to have an AI script that is built out well. That AI needs to learn and know what it's looking for and hear different variations. So that was, as AI came into our industry here, that is where I saw a lot of companies miss, as they put all their faith in AI, but they didn't have good scripts that were teaching the AI what to look for. So for example, and a salesperson would set a physical agenda at the beginning of a call, but they wouldn't actually say the word agenda. And the AI hadn't been taught to look for different variations. Something like, hey, let me go over what we're going to experience today or what we're going to accomplish today. It wouldn't look for that. So it would score it as if the salesperson didn't do that step when in fact they did, and vice versa, right? So you have to have a well-built script that the AI can learn from and it knows what it's looking for. So it's more accurate. Then from there, as a sales leader, I want to be digging into what went well, but also where the opportunities are. That's the quickest way to success for me, is when I know exactly what my team and the individuals on my team, what they're doing really well, but also where they're struggling. But then the actions that come with those struggles. It's one thing to know where I'm struggling, but then what are you going to do about it, right? And that's the second area that I see companies have a big miss. They're maybe really good at using the AI tool. They know where they're struggling. They still don't know what to do about it. That's a human element. It doesn't replace that human element. And so you have to dig in and have a strategy of what are we going to do about that? That's the training, the one-on-ones, the physical ride-alongs, like all those. What are we going to do with that? Goal setting, creating a 100-day plan, all those things need to come out of that. What are we going to do about it? So here's some reasons that you would want to physically ride along in addition to what I've mentioned already. So AI doesn't replace, but it enhances. When you're in the field, you're physically in the field, you can see things that AI doesn't see. You can see things like facial expressions on the customer, body language from the customer, body language from your salesperson, facial expressions from your salesperson, the mood of the room. You can feel the mood of the room. You can see the nerves of the salesperson. It might not pick up in their voice, but you can see it on their face and in their body language. Visuals. You can see if the salesperson is using visuals in addition to the words that they are using, because most people are visual customers. And so we want to have visuals that go along with the words. If I only use the words, for most customers, it's going in one ear and out the other. So like these are all things, and then some, that we would see on a physical ride along and would help us figure out a strategy of how to make our team, how to make our salespeople better, that I wouldn't get from AI. So another reason that you want to do physical ride-alongs, it doesn't see everything. There's things you will see in the physical ride-along that you won't see in the AI ride-along. Now, another reason is, I don't know about you, but I, as a manager, I want to be a manager that's leading from the front lines. Okay, think of the movie Braveheart. Okay, now that's going way back there. I'm dating myself a little bit. Some of you youngins that are listening have no idea what that movie is, but Google it. Okay, Google the final battle from Braveheart, and there's two armies. Okay, there's William Wallace, and then there's the King of England. Right now, the King of England, he's sitting back on his horse, and he's sending in the troops ahead of him. He's completely safe, and they're losing lots of troops, but he doesn't care because he's safe and he's sitting back at the back of the battle, right? The back of the army. Whereas William Wallace, he's rallying the troops. He is riding his horse back and forth, getting them all rallied, and he is leading from the front lines. He's leading the charge. And that's why they're doing so well in the final battle. What type of manager do you want to be? Do you want to be the one that is managing from the back, behind a computer, behind an AI tool? Or do you want to be the one that's out on the front lines, experiencing what your salespeople are experiencing, seeing what they're seeing firsthand with your own eyes? What kind of manager do you want to be? Do you want to be that William Wallace that's passionately leading your team? There's nothing I would have you do that I wouldn't do. Or do you want to be the King of England in the back? You guys go do it. I'm going to be back here in the cushy office just listening to the AI. Which manager do you want to be? I know which one I want to be. I want to be the one that is leading from the front lines. Now, the other thing here, I think of like a parent example, right? I got young kids, and you always hear these parent examples of like, hey, you're going to screw up, but the best thing you can do as a parent is just be present. Be present with your time. Give them your time. Same thing as a manager. When you can make time for that employee, you can get out there with that employee. That's the kind of manager I want to be. I want to be out there on the front lines, making time for you. You've got time with your leader. Because you also have all that window time, driving out to the call and driving back. Like, there is some great conversations and rapport building that's happening that wouldn't happen if you're just managing from the AI. The other thing is it does add an element of my salespeople know my process so well that they can perform under pressure. Think of like a football example, right? There's been a lot of players that they look good in practice, they look good at the draft, but when they get into the big game, they just crumble. I live up north. I'm a Vikings fan. And last year we had Sam Darnold. We went 14-2. And the mood in Minnesota was, this is our year, like it is every year. And then we crumbled in the playoffs. Sam Darnold's an amazing quarterback, and he did some amazing things last year, but when he got into the bigger games that mattered, he didn't look like the same Sam Darnold. Some of that can be youth and inexperience, and he'll probably get there. I kind of wish we had him yet. But same thing here. I want my people to not only know the process, that they can do it in a role play, and they can do it when the AI is listening. I want them to be able to do it when they're nervous. When their boss is with them on the call, I want them to still be able to do it. This happens to me as well. There's workshops I've presented where my boss is sitting in the back. There's speeches that I've done that there's hundreds, 1,000 people in the audience. There's calls that I've been on that my boss is standing off to the side listening or joins in on the call, right? Just to see how I'm doing. And then owners, like I'll go visit companies. I'll be working with their teams, and the owner is watching to see if their team is benefiting from the big investment that they're making on me being out there. All those things make me nervous, right? Like I wouldn't be human if I didn't get nervous. But I know my process. I know my stuff so well, you can't tell. That's how I want my sales team to be. I want them to know the process so well that even when I'm riding along, they can still execute that process. They don't fall apart as soon as somebody's watching. I guess there's one more big thing to be said for AI. We're entering an age where AI is becoming so ingrained in our industry, in our processes, that it's actually setting a new standard. And it's too early to tell you exactly what that new standard is, but I can say it's better than the old standard. Because it raises this question. What happens when everyone has AI? Because we're getting there, right? What happens when everyone has AI. We went through this years ago with CRMs, like what happens when every company has a CRM. And now every company I work with has a CRM. It's very rare I run into somebody that doesn't have a CRM. So what happens when everyone has AI? It's kind of like that question of like, when everyone is special, no one is. So then what? These benchmarks that we're used to, these benchmarks that I'll quote out in coaching calls, there's a new benchmark. If you're investing money into these AI tools to enhance your ride along, enhance your process, you should expect a higher benchmark. These tools should pay for themselves. So you can't rely on the old benchmarks. You can't use these AI tools and say, hey, we're above benchmark, because it's a new benchmark now. It's changed the game. That's where I spend most of my efforts now, coaching companies that use AI. They saw it as a turnkey solution. They thought it would fix all their sales problems, but they don't realize they need to implement it correctly and they need to take action after those people elements, physical ride-alongs, trainings, one-on-ones, etc. So AI, it enhances the ride-alongs, but it does not completely replace physical ride-alongs. If you have a question, reach out to me either on social media or email. Both are going to be listed down below in the show description, and let's get it answered for you. Or if you're a Nexstar member, schedule a call with me. We can address this one-on-one. We can address your specific situation and find a solution for you. I'm Coach Chris. We'll see you tomorrow.